You know what's pressure, ladies and gentlemen? When you're a 4-year-old child who appears on Hockey Night in Canada and everybody's saying you're going to be the next big thing in minor hockey. This guy was profiled at the Hockey Night in Canada at the age of 4 because of his dominance in minor hockey. Now, in 1969, some people were already saying he was going to make the NHL, especially for the Maple Leafs, and by God, he did. Now, Craig Redmond, who was taken 6th overall by the LA Kings in the 1984 NHL entry draft, had major prominence throughout his youth career. Now, he eventually played 8 years after his profile, or 9 years after his profile, at the Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament with a minor ice hockey team from the Fraser Valley, because again, bordered Dawson Creek, BC. Now, 5'10", 190, again a strong defenseman, good right-handed shot. Played junior hockey in the BCHL, where he finished 4th in scoring as a 16-year-old defenseman, setting a record for points by a defenseman. Again, later on he became an all-WCHA defenseman at University of Denver as a 17-year-old freshman, where he set an all-time school record for points by a rear guard in 1983. Now, he played the following season for the Canadian Olympic hockey team in 84 that finished out of the medals. Now, entering the draft in 1984, he was rated as the 4th best prospect by the NHL Central Scouting Ratings, and again selected 6th overall by the Kings. He signed with LA and played regularly for 2 seasons, but a knee injury and inconsistent defensive play led him to being sent to the minors partway through his 3rd season. When he was sent to the minors again in 87, he refused to report, and was eventually traded to Edmonton. Edmonton then sent him to the minors, and he retired following the season at the young age of 25, with, again, 22 years into hockey. Now, Redmond is part of the famous Redmond family in hockey, including the great Mickey Redmond, and of course, his brother Dick Redmond, Mickey's brother Dick. Now, 1980 with the Grand Forks Border Bruins of the KIJHL. 82 with the Abbotsville Flyers. He had 106 points in 48 games. Now 83 with the University of Denver, like I mentioned, 54 points in 34 games. Now, he played with the Canadian national team in 84, and that's where he was drafted from, ladies and gentlemen. 23 points in 62 games. Now, best season with the Kings, where he had 39 points in his first season, 1 goal in the playoffs. He eventually found his way to the Oilers in 89. By my memory, I don't know if he's on... I don't think he played with Edmonton that year in the playoffs. Statistics says no, I do remember probably 1 game. But he had 13 points in 21 games. 2 seasons with the Oilers, and wrapped up his minor career with the Atlanta Knights in 1996. Now, in 191 NHL games, 84 points, 16 goals, 68 assists. But like I said, retiring at 25. In Canada, the Olympics in 84, 2 goals in 7 games, played with them in 86. 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points at the World Championships. So, again, Olympics, 84, 4th place. WCHA Freshman of the Year in 83. Again, most points by the Denver defenseman with 54 and 83. Abbotsford points leader with 106 in 1982. Now, he scored a game-winning goal for Canada at the 84 Olympic game versus Finland, enabling Canada to clinch a berth in the medal round. Now, when he completed his last 2 years of high school in just 1 year, he eventually qualified to enter the University of Denver at the young age of 16, which was actually, I graduated 16 as well, so I totally relate. Now, his hero growing up was Bobby Orr, and eventually coached in minor hockey by former NHL player Alec Shabitsky. Now, if you can find a Hockey Night in Canada promo, I think it was part of a broadcast. I think it was a game, Toronto against California Gold Seals or Oakland Seals. Second period, if you can find it on YouTube. Look for, again, Toronto versus California 1969. Now, he officially retired for the final time in 1996. The situation was this as well. He was represented by player agent Al Eagleson during his NHL career, Eagleson and Redmond's family sent a letter to Toronto warning the Leafs not to draft Redmond or return to University of Denver for 1985, which of course happened. Now, he was the youngest player on LA's roster in 85 and the second youngest ever to play for the Kings at that time. Now, his defensive pairings with LA, including the great Rick LaPointe and Brian England. Now, he eventually missed part of the 86 season with a bruised foot, suffered during LA's December 20th game at Edmonton. He also played left wing for LA during several games during the 86 season. Now, he was injured partway in the 87 season with a torn cartilage in his right knee in a game against Calgary. Now, this required arthroscopic surgery and didn't return to LA until January 14, 87. Now, his defensive pairing in 87 was with the great Mark Harding. Now, 87 was a weird year as well. He suffered tendonitis inflammation in his right knee, suffered after re-aggravated the knee during LA's January 23rd, 87 game versus Minnesota. Now, he was out for 2 months, re-aggravated the knee again March 11th, out for another 3 weeks. Now, he missed the remainder of the 87 season and the entire 87 playoffs, again with that bad right knee, which happened in the game against Vancouver. Now, he was left unprotected by Edmonton in the 88 NHL waiver draft. He was claimed by the New York Rangers on October 3rd, 88, with the fourth pick in the draft for $20,000. He never played for the Rangers, although he did travel with the team to his first few games of 89 before being assigned to Denver. After he was demoted, Redmond's agent, again Al Nicholson, demanded that the Rangers trade him back to Edmonton if they didn't plan to bring him up to the NHL by December. Now, he was placed on waivers by the Rangers and reclaimed by Edmonton on November 1st, 88. He was immediately assigned to Cape Breton after rejoining the owners and was not recalled to the NHL until January 3rd, 89. The following day, Redmond played for Edmonton versus Quebec, and it was his first NHL game in nearly 2 years. And this made major news across Canada because, again, the child prospect was back. Now, came out of retirement at age 29, signed a contract with Edmonton, tried contract with Edmonton in August 95. He did not make the roster and spent the entire 96 season in the minors before retiring for good. And again, that was the Atlanta Knights. So he was 7 years out of hockey, ladies and gentlemen. Quite bizarre. Now, LA decided to discipline Redmond definitely on October 15, 87 after he refused to report to the Kings' AHL affiliate in New Haven. Redmond had been unimpressive in LA's first 2 games of the 88 season, as he was -4 in those contests. Now, when the Kings attempted to demote him, he said he saw no point in remaining with the organization because it was not interested in having him on the roster. Upon refusing to report to New Haven, along with teammates Brian Erickson and Daniel Gratton, Redmond, who was in the option year of his rookie contract, asked the Kings to trade him. The Kings then suspended him without pay, and Redmond went home to Langley, BC, saying he would not return to the NHL until he was traded. He said he would prefer to play on the 87-88 Canadian Olympic team if the Kings would not trade him within 2 weeks of the suspension, but the Kings refused to allow him to join the Olympic team because it would have required them to keep paying him. Redmond took a hardline stance with the team, saying he was single and didn't need the Kings' money because he could work for his father or sister who were successful in the real estate business. "I don't play this game for the money," he told the press. Meanwhile, LA General Manager Roger Vachon found it difficult to get a fair trade for Redmond because most teams thought he was of little value for the Kings and would not offer much in return. Now, he eventually set out the remainder of the 88 season and did not return to pro hockey until the Kings finally traded his rights to Edmonton as an addendum to the deal, get this, that brought Wayne Gretzky to LA. So he wasn't traded for Wayne Gretzky, but pretty close. Now, won a bronze at the World Championships in 86. Very cool as well. Now, he retired for the first time after the 89 season, moved to Vancouver area and followed his father's footsteps into real estate business after his final retirement, working for the family business, Noron Developments Limited. He also became a minor hockey coach at Burnaby, BC after his final retirement. Now, talking about the Redmond connection, he's a second cousin of former NHL players, Mickey Redmond and Dick Redmond. So by my math, I think they share the same great-grandfather, if I'm pretty well correct. Now, when LA traded Redmond to Edmonton for John Miner on August 10th, 88. The trade was made one day after a deal in which the two teams completed a multiplayer trade involving Wayne Gretzky. So it was technically not as part of the Gretzky deal, but it was. It's very complicated. It's called an addendum, basically, where you're trading low ends or draft picks as part of a, what do you call, a handshake deal to make sure it goes through. So for me, Craig Redmond, he had a lot of talent, but the only problem is, like I said, being on that high a pedestal and overachieving, maybe, being out of hockey at age 25, and like he said, he had lots of things going on besides hockey. That's probably what happened with him. But if you're 4 years old on Hockey Night in Canada being interviewed, between periods, on the pretty well what was at the time the biggest media draw, the Maple Leafs games on Sunday night, frig, that's going to go to your head. But like I said, the Redmond family is probably saying, I have a brand, and the Redmond family is known for hockey, and if you don't see my skills, and he was a skilled player. It'd be nice to work him as a number 5 defenseman for like a up-and-coming team like the Nordiques or Hartford. I think he would have done better, because Elliot was a lot of pressure, media was on him. So if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Post-Oscar podcasts, as we like to say, but don't forget, you're only good as your last Oscar telecasts. And the ratings really showed it last night. Have a good day. Bye.